Well,
here we are, Ben.
here we are. It's not even been 24 hours.
No, not 24 hours into retirement.
No. And
we should probably address the elephant in the room.
Yeah, let's not hang about. Go straight to it, Coley.
I think it's a good time to be getting out of the game. You know, it's gone mad. For me, they really butchered the national anthem, mate.
I'm hurting right now because, I thought, how good. You get to sing the national anthem at Twickenham one last time over electric guitar. I've never heard that version before, and I don't know. It's not his fault.
No.
Yeah, good for him.
I like him. I like him.
Sam.
Apparently he's a really nice guy.
He seems like a nice guy.
For me, just somehow the Americanisation of sport. I don't think we've ever sung the national anthem before, have we? And then secondly,
I think it's a new thing, maybe.
And secondly, it's like, just sing the national anthem.
The thing is, as well, like,
you don't have to make it something. It's fine.
When you line up, you obviously, both Bath and Leicester have got very different nationalities in their team.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of them, through history and stuff, don't necessarily like the anthem anyway. And then you add an electric guitar. Like, you are asking for it. I didn't know when to even start singing, and then I was so thrown by it.
Because I thought he was actually going to play the guitar and sing. Because I thought he was actually going to sing, but no, because it was just electric guitar. So then he started playing, then half this crowd sort of joined in, then some people came in.
Solo,
then he kept and he kept and it was like playing this. And then everyone was out of tune with it. So I was laughing because the crowd was about 5 seconds in front of the guitar, and I was just like, no one knows what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, let us know. Do you know what it reminded me of? Of World Cup 23, and you had the France-New Zealand game. Opening game. And you thought, how good, right? National Stadium, France, New Zealand, like the
Marseillaise,
get the volume on full blast, lads. This is gonna be epic. This will be one you'll look on YouTube, for years and go like, I've got to hear that anthem. It's like the greatest version of it, ahead of the World Cup. And they got children to sing it. It was horrendous, and it felt very similar to that.
Yeah,
that it just didn't quite land right, and it's not his. As I said, it's not his fault. Yeah. But if he walks out there next year with electric guitar, I will be amazed that
it's not his fault. Whoever thought that idea should have a rethink.
Yeah,
just
it was important.
I get making rugby more entertaining and getting people in, but like, just make it about the game.
Let's sort of set the scene, Coley. We are in the Crumbie stand, the famous Crumbie stand.
It's a lot quieter today than it has been in recent weeks. I would say we've snuck into the stadium illegally, but the legend that is Edmo has jumped out of bed, driven across Leicester up the M69, and let us in.
Yeah, he has, and it's kind of weird sitting here when it's empty. Actually, it's like you don't ever do it, but so here we are. How nice! It's not been 24 hours since we played our last game, but it's nice that we can record an episode here in the very famous stand.
I love this stand. I used to sit here as a kid, but I do wonder how some people have spent like 40 years sat here without a backrest.
Back support. There's no back support.
True followers, if you can do that. On
the slouch over. Let's talk about yesterday, Coley, and let's go straight into how you feeling, because not in terms of the results, everything like that, but just you come on, you get an amazing reception, rightly so, and then you're yellow carded only a few minutes later.
I thought, we've got such a good reception going on. I wanted to have another one. I got greedy, Len. I've had so many good receptions coming onto the field in recent times. I got greedy. I wanted one more. So I thought, you know what? I'll get yellow carded and go off.
Did you come back on at the end of the game?
No.
Oh,
my career
is so cruel.
My career has ended in the sin bin. Yeah. Absolutely.
What can you
How
do?
do I feel? I feel obviously gutted for the game. I feel embarrassed for getting sin binned in such a big game and at the end of the game, and I feel responsible and like you let the team down, because even at the end of the game it's 2 points in it, and you're like, the 3 points that I gave away from my yellow card is cost you the game potentially. I mean, it doesn't, what I mean? It doesn't, but at the same time, it doesn't really. You kind of tell yourself that, but at the same time you do feel responsible for what you did, and it's just a bit like. And looking back, you know what, Ben, I kind of wish that I'd have thrown an elbow or something and actually, with 10 minutes to go, right, set the scene. If I meant to cheap shot him, I should cheap shot him, get red carded, and hopefully get him off the field so he can't kick and Bath man. You know what? Off.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
like I got a yellow card for attempting a charge down. I didn't jump out the way. I didn't do anything. I'm just like, for me, it was one of, I'm going to moan now, one of a few decisions I thought he got wrong. Right.
Yeah. There was a few things that were...
and ultimately, tomorrow, no one will care. And history, no one will care about my rant.
No.
So it's sore loserish, yeah. But give me 24 hours to be moany. But, yeah, it's just a bit like... so for my emotions, like you're angry, you're upset, you're proud of the team. I said after the game, like the fact that we did play 60 minutes with 14 blokes on the field. I mean, at 72 minutes, I got sent this after the penalty count is 9-2 in Bath's favour. So 72 minutes in.
At 72 minutes, it's 9-2.
So I think 2 of those came from the scrum. So we didn't get one penalty across the entire game. If you watch that game as neutral, I'm pretty sure there's probably somewhere we could have got a penalty. So to do that, to go 72 minutes with 2 penalties from the scrum against you, that kind of stuff, and like to be in the position at the end of the game to almost be playing, yeah, we had the possession, but like we'll talk about, but like for the boys to, so proud of the group today, from last year being 8th, this year gets to the Premiership Final, it's quite sacked against in some regards, and to play and have it on the line, you know what I mean? Because at some point in that game we were, even when Bath had their try disallowed, that was going to be 25-7 or something, wasn't it? Like it was a big old...
Yeah, well, it was something like that, wasn't it?
But like the fact that wasn't, we came back and, you know, took our chances when we did. Like, you're really proud. So you got the emotion of anger, frustration, embarrassment, disappointment, proud. Like, you know what I mean? You just rotate through those. There's a whole blend of them, and you just rotate through them for the next 24 hours. And probably always one of those ones where it's just like you look back and you're just like,
it's, you know what? Like when the incident happened, Coley. Like first of all, you're still fast, mate. You're the guy leading the kick sprint, and your vertical jump is incredible.
I know. I got at least 6 inches off the floor.
It was amazing. But all jokes aside, I think it's one of those, like, you're in a final, you're competing for everything, you're putting kick pressure on, you're trying to either charge him down, or worst case scenario is you're putting him under that much pressure that the kick doesn't go where he wants it to do. You're taking time away from him to execute a kick. And yeah, like, you know, you jump, you try and put pressure on, you got to land. What comes up must come down. And yeah, I was surprised, mate. And you know what? Okay, give a pen, right? But to yellow, that was a incident where I was like, a yellow for me that seemed incredibly harsh. To yellow for that, you know, incredibly harsh. And then obviously that, yeah, like you say, Colin, then that was your job done, you know. Like, you didn't get another shot coming back on. No, but it's sad, mate.
Well, it's rugby, isn't it?
It
is what it is. Doesn't mean I'm not going to moan about it for the rest of my life, but you know, that's the way.
Coley, we've had hundreds of kind messages, and I want to read one out. Coley, it won't make the final any easier to take, but please hold your head up high. After the final, nobody thinks of you any differently than a legend of the game. Regardless of the results, Tigers fans were there to celebrate the end of an illustrious career, and win or lose, the final was about the players. You, sir, are the definition of a Leicester Tiger and a true professional. You've been everything a fan could ask of you, and you should hold your head up high. Please celebrate the day and yourself. Today just wasn't our day.
Thank you. It's a very kind message.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, I say one thing I would say is one of the great things about the game, right? The reception we got coming on the field, say it again, like from everyone. I think people saying Bath fans, Leicester fans, like neutral. It was like, that's what you kind of love about the game, isn't it? Like, not so much the reception for us, yes, obviously like that, but like the fact that rugby fans can come, like, just, you know what I mean? Those moments where everyone in the stadium's just, that's what makes rugby different, I think, from other sports. So
yeah.
That was a nice message, and I'll go celebrate myself by having 72 pints in about 3 hours' time. Got a question from Tom. I've just been arguing with my mate Rich about betting box kicking with a minute to go. Please can you tell him there was no chance of Tigers scoring from 80 metres out, and our best opportunity was to force a scrum higher up the pitch. On the flip side, Rich would like to know if you'll wake up on Sunday in a pool of regret. Will you even sleep at all?
Thanks for the question, Tom. Yeah, like in an ideal situation, you've got numbers on your feet, you've got perfect shape, and you move the ball and you build pressure-free phase, you know, and you force them to eke a penalty, or you still got to get in a kickable position in terms of trying to win a pen, eke a pen out of them, with 3 points, and you've got Pollard on there to kick it. So you're going to have to go, minimum 6-7 phases to try and work your way up the field. And that's with them sort of falling off some tackles and getting some edge meters and everything like that. But how it unfolded was we scored a try, we received the kickoff. The plan was to kick the ball off. Our line out had been pretty good in terms of putting theirs under pressure. That was the strategy. Kick it off and then try and pressure their set piece, so we kick it off, go to set piece, they maul, and then they sort of break out for that maul, and Mecca gets a brilliant turnover. Then from that turnover, that was the key really to shift that straight away and go. But the breakdown was an absolute mess. I get caught up in the breakdown, then James Cronin has to go 9. Anyway, that sort of opportunity's gone. By the time we then sort of recycle, we've got no shape on the open to go to. Everyone's a bit everywhere. So our best bet at that stage is you go to an aerial contest, and what you're trying to do is, a bit like Will Muir did very well for them yesterday, really effective, is you go up and you try and create a contest that you slap the ball and you create an unstructured opportunity for yourself. Or worst case is they catch it and they have to go a number of phases in their half, which is phases which are from kickable opportunities from you, and you've got guys like Emeka going for the ball, you've got Hanro trying to jackal, you've got Montoya trying to jackal, you've got all these guys trying to jackal, and that was the strat. So I didn't just hoof it away going, there you go. There is, everything's thought out and planned, and an ideal situation is you build phases and you put them under pressure. But if you've got nothing to go to, which we didn't, it's about how do you force them into, because actually we went hard at those breakdowns and we couldn't quite get a jackal or counter ruck, but that was ultimately the team plan to try and do that. So you are part of a team decision to go do that.
But again, I would say this as well, is depending on, because of the score, because it's a one score game, so it's 2 points, a penalty wins it. So if you're down by, say, 6, you need a try, you probably run, because you're running it
regardless if you've got no shape or anything. You're holding on to
whereas
the ball.
like in that part of the field, because it's sort of you're in your own half, if you run it there and the game you're behind, I honestly think Bath probably go at the breakdown, because if they're inside their own half, then they give away a penalty, potentially lose the game. But in their opposition half, you're safe. Polly's not going to kick it from 80 metres, so they go hard at the breakdown. The referee is probably actually thinking it's an easy penalty to give to end the game, because it's not controversial anyway. And I'm not to blame the referee or anything like that, but you know what I mean? That mindset of
that happens. We've seen it happen.
It's like a penalty 80 metres away from the guy, the game's over, it ends the game. And also, what I will say is, it's easy to go at the end of the game, I should have ran it. But there's probably minute 1 you could have ran it, minute 2 you could have ran it, minute 10 you could have ran it, and people will forget because of recency bias, missed opportunities. You know what I mean? It's like my yellow card. People go, I lost in the game, but then what about the penalty at half time at the break? What about the penalty earlier on? What about the intercept? What about this? You know what I mean? There's so many other variables. It's not just that moment in the game. It's everything else that leads to it. So it's one of those. Isn't it?
They're more heightened, like you say, Coley, because they're the back end of the game, right at the end, and people think, well, why? Yeah. Well, you're trying to win it. Why would you do that? It's like, we are absolutely trying to win it, and at that stage, that is the best option given the scenario. And like I say, the ideal scenario was to shift it straight away, but that breakdown was an absolute mess, and as soon as we missed that opportunity to go straight away, the whole picture then changed. So, but like in terms of regret, no, like got no regrets. Like the boys gave it everything, and like first of all, we need to credit Bath actually.
We should probably,
Bath beaten us 3 times this season. They have been top of the league pretty much the entire season, been very, very good, and I'll be the first to say, or we will be the first to say, congratulations to them, fully deserved, and they have been the best team in the league.
And so the way they play, like they stifled us for long periods of the game. They know what they're doing with the kicking game, how they exit out their half, Muir into their ball, high ball, that kind of stuff, and they know how to build pressure. And like as you say, they're so clinical in what they do, with Spencer and Russell just banging it back, even to Glanville banging it long, pressure. There was long periods, but I think we scored in that first 5 minutes of the maul, and I don't think we got into the Bath's 22 for the next half. And that's just because of their ability to control the game and what they're doing. So you credit to them. They're a fantastic team, and they're tough to beat. They're tough to score on, which is half the thing, and they've got some finishes and stuff like that, which makes them the team now. They're worthy champions.
What they were very effective at yesterday, and if you actually look, from what I remember, and I will watch it back at some stage, is they were very efficient at coming out of their half, and Bath, for all the tries they've scored, and I think I'm right in saying they're top try scorers in terms of the whole league and the amount they've scored this year. But what they are is they're very effective coming out of their half, and yesterday, they absolutely dominated the territory battle against us. So Spenny was doing these short box kicks on the money, and Muir getting up and slapping it down, just trying to create unstructured. But when we exit, we kick short as well, but we could never almost get beyond the halfway line before it then comes back on us. And if anything, we did slightly longer than that, like they would happy just smash it long and try and eat up the kick meters. So for such a long period, they dominated the territory, and they kind of they camp within the sort of the halfway line to your 22. They spend a huge amount of time in that area, then you're under the cosh, penalties of course, and actually you can't really escape the pressure if you're not getting pens at the breakdown, things like that. You can't actually ever win that territory battle, and they're very, very effective at that. And they did that remarkably well yesterday.
Yeah, well, the way to get out of that is almost to say you need set piece, like scrum dominance, and because if there is a knock on, whatever it is, you end up winning the scrum penalties. And I think there were times yesterday when we had scrum dominance, but again, you need that throughout the whole game, and it wasn't rewarded or whatever it was. So therefore, that's another area where they can just build pressure. So it's they're incredibly effective what they're doing. As you say, it's a lot of Bath is people see them score 200 tries something this year, but a lot of that is the fact that they're just relentless in regards to, they get out their half, they stay out their half, and they just camp in your half and force you into errors. And when they get the ball, they've got playmakers to make something happen, which is that's why they're so good at. That's why they've won the league, been top of the league all year, and won 2 other trophies. Yeah,
been highly effective. So deserved champions. So congratulations to them. I think from our point of view, it is one of those games where you think you do come off like all finals. You always, the ones you lose, you think, oh, what if, and could have done this, could have done that. But in the overview, in the overriding emotion, when it's all said and done, Bath have been extremely good consistently. When you look at the league itself, Bath have been the most consistent team without doubt. Where you look at everyone else, has been battling it out for the top from 2 to 8.
In the good old days when the league was the main thing, like Bath have been top by loads. So you're like credit, you know what I mean? Like,
no, absolutely.
Like so I say, and you go to the finals. Yes, it's a game and all that kind of stuff. But Bath are worthy champions. Like, what can you say?
This episode, For the Love of Rugby, is brought to you in partnership with Saley,
a new eSIM service app from the creators of NordVPN.
Now that we're retiring, Coley, we can go on holiday whenever we like. We don't have to be back in pre-season in a certain shape, make certain weight. We can enjoy ourselves.
That's right, Ben. I can't wait for my European tour of history and culture.
But when I'm away, how on earth am I going to watch rugby? Because the Wi-Fi always plays up, and to use my data roaming is extortionate.
Before you leave the UK, you can open up the Saley app and you can download a data package for the destination you're going to, and often it can be up to 10 times cheaper than roaming rates.
Tell me more. I'm all ears.
Well, Saley offers a safe and secure internet connection in over 200 destinations with 24/7 support. You can watch rugby to your heart's content. You can switch your phone's virtual location, and therefore you can watch all the content and apps from back home.
What's there not to love about that?
Try it for yourself. Download the Saley app and use our code FTLOR and get 15% off your first purchase.
The full details are in the episode description. Those were the ads. You fancy another whiskey yet or not?
No, I think I've had my fill of whiskey for a few hours. I need something slightly, I say, smoother to ease me into today's drinking.
I didn't. We had a whiskey last night with Czech, didn't we?
Yeah.
And a few of the other lads. There was a good few of us having a drink, and immediate heartburn. So if you want to get
it's just
whiskey, if we could get a Rennie sponsor, that would be great.
It's when you pick up a glass of whiskey and it just
it's the
smell. Fumes hit you.
You can't not have one with the boss. It's like he's like, "Oh, boys, crack over the whiskey. You'll have one." It's like, yeah, great. Like, oh my god,
your throat burning from like 10 inches away. Like,
it's also when you wake up. When I woke up this morning, I'm hanging. I was drunk this morning. I'm now in that hangover / phase, ready to go again. But
right,
whiskey throat. Anyway,
we should say Michael Cheika,
let's talk about Czech.
His last game at Leicester. I think for this year, he's been the perfect man in regards to just he can motivate a team. Gets the emotion right. He feels the team in that. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a good balance of the emotion and where the team's at, and he's been what we need. And obviously had some high innings this year, but he wants to win. And I think for this year, I'm gutted that we couldn't win for him. I think he's gutted as well. And so even after the change room afterwards, he was upset.
He was emotional.
He felt like he hadn't prepared us well enough for the game, and say it was that was tough to say he had. But like he's I say for this year, I think he's been brilliant. Having played against his like Australia teams and stuff, and been on the receiving end of his how should we put it, like when you come off the field and you can hear his presence there, he's a big bloke, and you're like, ooh, but having him on your team, I think once you're on his team, he's a different bloke, and he's great.
I feel really lucky that I got to experience Michael Cheika. As you say, we've known him from playing against him and his presence and all that, but actually to get to know him and see him who he is, and he's a really caring bloke. Like, he genuinely cares for players and people and wants to help in any way. And no, he's been so refreshing, and his mindset and mentality almost is a perfect mould for Leicester. Like, he was the perfect fit, and no, he's done wonders in one season.
Yes, he's definitely like working under him, with him this year. Like, there's sort of two sides to Cheika. I think he's an ultimate competitor, probably more than any other coach, and he wants to win everything. Like, every collision, every kick chase, every kick, every collision, he's wants to win it, and it's almost like he's so set on just winning everything, and it builds up to a bigger picture. You know what I mean? And there's almost like and a lot of it is just literally you'll hit him. There's no technique to it in some regards. It's like you hit him harder than you want it more. Basically, that's Cheik's kind of way of doing it, and it's this year has been definitely perfect in that regard. So I think like is a great way. There's two sides to him. There's a sort of hard, like we beat teams up, when we're physical, we do this, and then like there's the other side to him, which is a bit more caring, and like you see him talk to the young guys and just backs them full of confidence and belief, and just backs them. I think like you've seen some real younger guys step up this year, and I think a lot of that is Cheik just backing them to the hilt. You know what I mean? And I think that's what he'd believe. I think I wouldn't say technical, tactical, he's the best coach I've ever worked under in regards to like your game plan to win all this and the other, but just instilling belief in a team and your teammates, and you go out on the field knowing you're going to win. Like this week's been, the training we've had is probably the most different week, a finals week I've had in my career. In fact, it was quite laid back. It was sort of like, but you get to the end of we get to those Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, like he is pumping the tyres up and he's pushing you. His will to win is infectious in the team. And so that's probably not the, I'm not saying we had the game plan, but his game plan is literally you fight for everything and you'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And no, he's been brilliant. He has been, and you've summed it up perfectly there. So yeah, I think Cheik will forever be appreciated around here for what he did,
Yeah.
And also like the family's back in Oz. He spent the entire year over here, and not everyone knows that, like that he was so committed for this season of trying to get the job done. And yesterday after the game he was emotional because I think he felt like he just didn't quite.
Yeah.
But mate, we were if buts and maybes. Let's talk about the day as a whole yesterday, mate. And the experience and what it was like, and knowing that it was our last game. It's been weird sort of leading up to this one, because last week we weren't sure whether that was going to be the last one, but this one we knew. Yeah. But from the moment we arrived at Twickenham and
arrived on time,
no lift problems, no traffic problems, and we got off right at the entrance actually. So we had a long walk, and that was really good actually. There were loads of Bath fans. In fact, there seemed like there was no end of Bath fans yesterday actually.
There was a lot, but like what I will say is on the way in, like I saw a Newcastle Falcons shirt, I saw a Northampton shirt, I saw Gloucester fans, there was Bristol fans, there was Bath, Leicester, there was Exeter fans. Like that's what I love about the Premiership Final. It's like it's almost like it's a great day. Just as a rugby fan, you go there and it's there's obviously Leicester fans and Bath fans there, but I think like it's great seeing just fans from other teams going, you know what, I'm going to buy a ticket. If my team makes it, great. If they don't, I'm going to the Prem Final, and that's that's one of the great things. So we walked in, turned up on time, walked in, and the place was almost packed on that walkthrough. It was like an international game in that regard. Went in, obviously, but I think once you're there, it was into business mode, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. I felt. Yeah. even yesterday morning, mate,
It was quite.
I felt pretty focused from the start, from the moment.
I will say it was quite weird. Is like it was. I was thinking about this because I was getting my ankle strapped. We were at the hotel beforehand, and on the beds getting your ankle strapped. There's a bit of music playing. There's lads just like headphones on, rolling around, and you're like, it was a bit not surreal, but I'm just sat there thinking like, imagine if a camera crew was in here now, like this is how a team prepares for a grand final. You know what I mean? This is a documentary of all these teams like doing like get psyched up and stuff, and there's just like. Not say loose, but just relax. But people know what they're going to do, so it was focused. But yeah, I did think at that point when I was getting my ankle strapped, I was like, "This is the bits I missed." 'Cause I was thinking as well about the apprehension of the game. I'm like, because sometimes it's like you just want the final, you want to get to the final. A bit like last week, it's like, I want to get to the game, want to get to the game, want to get to the result. But I'm actually like, I think the bits I'll miss is probably actually to get to the final. You have to do the lead up, you have to go through the nerves, you have to go through the pre-game build up, you have to go through pre-match, you have to go through walkthroughs, and that's probably the bit I'll miss is actually doing the, not say the hard part, but everyone wants the games and the success, but it's actually the bits that come before that where you almost want to rush through it because you just want to get to the game, but actually that's the bit I think, I was thinking yesterday, I'm like, that's the sort of privileged part in some regards we're getting to do, it's just, you know what I mean, like the bits that lead into the game as much as the game itself.
Yeah, and that like personal prep, it's unique, isn't it? Because I had pre-match meal, and I'm someone that loves being around people, as you know, Coley. And yesterday, for whatever reason, I got my food and I sat on a table all the way the other side of the room on my own. I didn't want to speak to anyone, and I'm never really been like that ever. But I just didn't want to. I just wanted, not like it wasn't even reflection. I just needed time on my own because I was zoning in, and you got all these different personalities, like I roomed with Polly obviously on Friday night, you roomed with Julian Montoya on Friday night, Polly's an early riser.
My bed
6 o'clock he's out of bed, mate. And
was your bedroom, we had a double and a single?
Yeah, double and single. So Polly, when I walked in, Polly had gone for the single bed.
Had he?
Yeah, what a man,
what a guy.
And I said, Polly, that's ridiculous, mate, you're starting and you're going to win us the game. Didn't plan out, but pepped him up, gave him a bit of a pep talk. Said, you need the double bed, mate. I will be fine in the single bed. You've got big responsibility tomorrow. That's
me and Montoya got in the room first, so I took the single bed because I thought he's starting. He's going to play 70 to 80 minutes of the game. Like I'm fine in the single bed, but he's like arguing with me. He's like trying to kick me off bed. I'm like, no, it's fine, mate. You have the double. I have the single bed. This is where it should. Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, so every time I rolled over, I was like, my back's killing me. In the morning, I was like, literally like got the stiffest man in the world. He's like, I'm all right, Julian, it's fine.
Yeah, it's.
I think as well, I part of me was happy with a single bed because for the rest of my life, when I see Montoya, I'll be
you
like,
can say,
yeah, I've got it over on him. You know what I
mean? My last ever game, you didn't give me the double bed. That will
eat
him up so much. He'll hate that.
How much friends, family, should have come to the game?
I had a good few. I ended up getting a box in the end. It was easier getting a box than it was trying to get tickets. So I did that. So I had 20 in the box.
Pulled some strings, did you, being Ben Young's most capped international?
Well, I think 9 of them were kids, nieces and nephews and my own children, which is always amusing because whenever they come on the pitch with me after, I do get a lot of looks where people think that I've got sort of 8 or 9 offspring. Yeah. I've got 3, just for the record. But yeah, there was a good few family there, mate, yesterday, and yeah, lovely that they've been supported my whole career. So yeah, to have them there one final time was brilliant. Did
you do a lap?
I did do a lap, and I you know what? After the game, mate, I was, you hug your teammates, don't you? And that's quite hard because I nearly wobbled a few times with certain individuals, and then I went and saw my family, and then. I saw my brother actually, and I gave him a hug, mate, and I just went. That was it. Yeah. Waterworks. I was gone, mate, and I think and it was such an emotional moment because what I found really emotional with Tom in that moment at the end because it was like I felt like it was a recognition of what we've both done in the game together, and it was an end of an era together. I know that Tom's finished, but he's been there every step of the way, like. Always been there, and I felt yesterday was like it was it. That was it. It was it for me, but it was it for us. Like we'd done this incredible journey together on a rugby field. We've had highs, we've had lows, we've had some incredibly difficult times along the way, And that moment for me was like a reflection and an embrace of, like, we did good, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we did good.
Yeah.
And that's all she wrote. The ink's dry. And I was really overwhelmed. That was he. So an amazingly emotional moment with Tom, and then obviously my wife Charlotte and the kids. But it kind of really hit me. They were happy tears, you know. They were happy tears. How about you and Crofty, mate? Because I saw that video, and Crofty does give a good hug. To be fair, he's a good hugger.
It was because I went across to see my parents and my boys where they were so. I wanted to sulk, to be honest, after the game. But you know what I mean? See kids there, it's like, set a good example, all that kind of stuff. Got them on the pitch, let them run around the pitch for one last time in the final game and enjoy that. Hopefully make a memory of the boys for that. But yeah, I sort of walked around the pitch, decided, like, because Bath got the trophy, I thought I'd just walk around and say thank you to everyone, and because, as I say, it'd been awesome, and just have a moment. And I say I got halfway sort of around the pitch into the far corner, and then one of the guys, Tom Croft and Matt Smith, wanting up on the pitch. Can you? So I was like, yeah, get them on. Smithy came on the pitch, gave me a hug, said some kind words in my ear. Was there, like, and then his dad, Dawson Smith, who coached me in the academy, and like legend. He gave us a hug as well. And at that point, it hit me. I was like, started to cry. I think basically the emotion of the game, just everything. And then I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, try to cover it up because it wasn't. I didn't want to make it about myself, Ben, in all honesty, you know what I mean? And then Crofty was there, so bear in mind in Crofty. I think there's a video of Crofty online. I think he's crying. Well, he's not crying, but I don't think he knows what to do at that point, mate.
It's tough, isn't it? But again, it's a recognition because it is an end of...
But the thing is, I came through with Smithy and Crofty. They're a year above me at school. I played against Smithy as a schoolboy, and he's Leicester's second biggest fan because Doss is the first, his dad's the first, you know what I mean? So it's, I say it was that end of the era again with those two, Crofty and Smithy blokes you play with. And then I sort of had to pull it together and continue my walk round with the boys. But yeah, and it hit me at that point. I think that bit there was just like the emotion of having almost let down like a Leicester legend in, like, you know what I mean, and all the players before that Doss Smith represents and that kind of stuff, and just it was over, and it hit me then.
It is emotional, and I think you can't. I think probably for the last 3-4 weeks we've been holding it in probably, and then you get to that stage, and it is overwhelming. And I think with that group, your Matt Smiths, your Tom Crofts, my brother, you know, we all came through together. And you look at like your Ollie Chesums, your Freddie Shoes, your JVPs, that crop. It'll be the same for them. At one point, you know, one goes, the next one goes. But for us, me and you were the last of that group.
Yeah.
And yesterday, for that crop of players that we had great times with, great friends, that was it. Like, we were the last to do it and last to go. And I think it was emotional for all of us, you know. I mean, Smithy, I had a hug with Smithy, and I didn't think he was going to let me go, actually, to be fair.
That's what set me off, I think, was like he would let me go.
He was squeezing me so tight, and I was like, please, at that point, I said, mate, I'd just been, with Tom, and I think I don't want to cry again. But yeah, Smithy, I don't think he was going to let me go at one point. He was squeezing tight.
So he got me. That was what got me.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Again, it's an embrace of recognition of what we've all done, and what we've all contributed.
But it's also like, it's one of those moments, like, it's that I'm not going to get to, but like, you've been through so much together as teammates, friends, like on and off the field, that kind of stuff, and it's one of those, you can't sort of say it to people in day-to-day life, but just that embrace, you just kind of like there's a lot of emotion, you feel it, you know what I mean?
You
and
do.
That's those things say they're special. I think, you know, you probably don't tell our friends enough what they mean to us, all that kind of stuff, but they do. So yeah, that got me, put it that way.
Yeah, it did indeed.
Also, can I talking about completing the circle? Martin Corrie was in the lounge afterwards.
It was great to see Martin Corrie. Yeah, what a club legend. Because he, of course, was our captain when we came through.
He said that we were the final two guys that he played with. Like, we've now retired, so like it was finished. It completed his circle, which was strange. And I saw a guy there, Chris Stanley, who he played my first ever game at school with me, my first year at South Leicester with me. His dad coaches there, and he was the one that used to give me his extra ticket, and we used to sit up there and watch the game. So him being at my final game, that was a nice complete. I mean, I haven't seen the bloke in 20 years probably, but like just seeing him, I was like, oh my god, I know you are, and like the complete circle. So yeah, that was strange but fitting, I thought.
Yeah, fitting and strange. Yeah, no, good to see Koza. 2007, I first played at Twickenham, Coley. And 2025 is my last.
It's not bad. Not a bad span, is it, man?
Yeah, it's gone all right, isn't it?
It has.
We should be proud. We should be proud. Oh, right, Coley. I felt very emotional there. So let's finish off with some bits. Starting with, what does today look like, and what does the next? Mate, we've got the summer off. We've got no pre-season. Some teams are starting pre-season in 3 weeks' time. You know, the boys now will get 5 weeks off. You know, Ches off to the Lions. Go on, Big Red. Guys will go on England camps and various places. So, but yeah, mate, we've got none of that.
No.
What are we going to do?
Well,
apart from pod.
A, we've got to lock the stadium up when we're finished here.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
And B, we've got to get on a train to London and then have to drink about 45 drinks to play catch up for the missed out because our producer didn't have switch camera on this morning. And then, yeah, then after that.
Well, you also need to get me some clothes on the way because my car's at Oval Park. So
yeah, apart from that, don't know. We should talk about after the game. Obviously, we spoke at the change room.
We should, yeah.
Little presentation. I'm not going to lie. I think I was drunk after about 2 beers.
Yeah.
It kind of like just a lot of photos, I say a lot of emotion and that kind of stuff. It was, it was nice. But we also, on the way home, we had a great bus journey.
Great. We had some cracking songs. Like, honestly, Jimmy Whitcomb.
Yeah, big shout out to Jim Whitcomb.
Big shout out to Jimmy Whitcomb. And Big Red. Ches has got some crackers as well. Yeah. But Jimmy Whitcomb.
Football chants adapted for
Dan
the
Kelly,
rugby environment.
And the variation and the way that they have changed these lyrics is nothing short of sensational. Like, sensational. I can't sing any of these songs because they are extremely disrespectful to certain individuals, certain people. But yeah.
But we actually got to sing quite a lot of songs because we had a break. We went to Toddington Services, didn't we? And we stopped so everyone could just get off the bus, stretch their legs, go for a wee. Just a quick 10-minute break. And then the bus wouldn't drive. And it's like, what's going on here? And basically, it turns out that the bus was, the time limited up, the bus was ready to go, but someone, I don't want to name any names, but someone was buying a triple Whopper burger from Burger King or something. It took a couple of minutes extra.
Double Whopper, that they gave me the wrong order, by the way.
All right, so by the time this person got back to the bus, the doors was closed. So to get on the bus, they decided to was it twist the knob of the...
on the main group. Yeah. I was like, just grabbing a double Whopper, 4 minutes.
Yeah, and basically twisted the emergency exit to get the door open, at which point it set the alarm off in the driver's cab, and we spent an hour trying to reset it so we could go anywhere. So we just set the services for an hour thanks to you and you showed no remorse either.
I showed no remorse because, well, it's a bus. Like, to get in a bus, you've got to open the door, right? So I tried to open the door and check is going off. Like, he's like... he's going crazy.
The poor bus driver, yeah, exactly.
He was fine with
the bloke that's made us late. The bus driver is getting it.
The bus driver's getting it. And anyway, of all the people that fixed it, James Cronin. Yeah. But of all the people you don't want to fix it, is James Cronin. But the Crow basically just opened the door, the side door from inside, and then closed it. And they just reset it, and then the bus could work. So it was a bit like, my point of view was, surely a bus driver should know that. Anyway. The poor bus driver might have got at both barrels from Czech, and I was very happily eating my bacon double cheese, I think they gave me in the end because they got the order wrong, at the back of the bus, and showed no remorse because, in fact, it gave us an extra hour on the bus to enjoy each other's company, Coley, and sing some more songs. So it was all good.
Len, I thought my last moment might be on a rugby field, might be sat in the sin bin, but I've just had a message inviting me to... go down to Cape Town and play for the Barbarians versus Africa.
Hi, Dan. would you like one more game in Cape Town? This obviously if you don't get cited. Barbarians, South Africa. Matches on June the 28th. We travel next Saturday. One more game. Coley.
If I can play on the wing, I'll do it.
That is, mate. Oh my gosh, mate. He like barbars.
Have you got the text?
Let me check.
Maybe it's C. Maybe,
I actually have got the
text. Maybe Cole is higher up on the list than you. A few minutes after.
No, I have. Hi Ben, hope you're well, mate. Do you have Dan Cole's number, please? Cheers, Steve.
Brilliant.
Oh. No worries. I don't want one more. I'm going to message him back. You're talking about Coley's number.
Yeah. I'm getting pre-season.
Yeah. Go to Cape Town, Steve? Do you say? Yeah. Is that why you want his number? Well, 2 for 1. Cheers, mate. He obviously got your number off someone else.
Yeah.
that is. I've totally been disrespected there.
Shall I just say yes, and then you can turn up instead of me? I'm here.
Yeah. Lock it down against the Springboks. Yeah, no worries. Well, there we are, Coley. Maybe you've got one more kick sprint in you and charge down in you.
Oh, what a way to go, eh?
And finally, I just want to say a massive thank you. And I can't say it enough. The way that you kind of made me or us feel over throughout our career, but certainly the last few months, and the receptions and the cheers and everything like that. Honestly, words will never do it justice, just how much that meant to me as a person and the appreciation you all showed. So thank you so much. I look forward to coming back here as a fan, and what a club. I'm very proud to be a part of it, and thank you very much. Coley?
I couldn't put it any better than that, Ben.